is Justin Davis. He had a perfect score in the grade 4 mathematics assessment.
You get.
You want to give any advice to other students? How to score perfect? No? Congratulations.
Next is Reese Roof. She also got a perfect score in the grade 4 mathematics assessment.
Okay, any advice for other students? How to score perfect on the math?
You gotta go slow and take your time and everything, and try.
Try hard. All right.
Good job.
She just looked your way.
One more picture.
Okay, hold on. One more.
This one, right?
Okay.
Turn your certificate.
Cooper Smith also received a perfect score in the grade 4 mathematics assessment. Parker Dillman, he received a perfect score in the grade 5 ELA reading assessment. And Parker's going to remain standing because he also had a perfect score on the mathematics assessment.
Good for you.
Okay, so if you remember, Parker also came to the school board meeting, I believe, and gave a speech. Am I right? Well, okay.
Yeah, she-
So I know you're gonna have some words of wisdom. What do you think it took to make perfect score on math and language arts?
I agree with what Reese said. Just take your time, try as hard as you can.
And do you think good teachers help too, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Our last student for West Glades is Mr. Donald Burden, or Mr. Donnie. He got a perfect score in the civics EOC.
Okay, so civics, you're gonna be a future board member or superintendent maybe? Okay, so what advice do you have?
Try.
Try hard? Try hard, all right, let's give him a hand.
So may I just say that, I'll say this to all of the students here, you know, what you have been able to accomplish by scoring a perfect score on this state assessment is amazing. So your accomplishment is a tribute to the effort and the commitment that you have made to learning. And it's also a tribute not just to your hard work and your effort, but to your families. And so we have a lot of family members here. We know that you are supporting them at home, and that is invaluable. And of course, our teachers, our staff, our school board, everyone is a support system to all of you. So what an amazing accomplishment. So it's my honor to recognize Juan Howard.
You're gonna stand here while you talk. I know she's gonna say some great things about you, okay? Hold on, you can stand here.
Juan, I'd like to just reiterate what I said. Your accomplishment, buddy, is such a source of pride for our entire school community. Thank you so much for your effort. And knowing you personally, I know how hard you work. A lot of things come so easily for you, and I think that there again, that's because of your support system. So what an amazing job you did, buddy. So proud of you.
We have two students from the high school. I'm not sure if you're here. Ben Austin. Ben Austin got a perfect score on 6th grade ELA.
Mom's in the back. All right, what do you want to say? Anything?
Well, just pay attention to everything, not just school. There's a lot of things you can learn just from your everyday life. It also helps to have a teacher as your mother, so.
And then Zyra Durr. She got perfect score on 7th grade ELA.
Okay, what do you want to say? This is your time. Come on.
I mean, it's good to have an ELA teacher as my mother.
Okay.
And I just like reading, so it's complete.
Okay, so she says she likes reading, so I'm going to put you on the spot. What's your favorite book?
I'm gonna say Hate to Give.
What is it called?
The Hate to Give.
Okay, The Hate You Give. All right, guys. So congratulations.
And last we have Abigail Colindres. She won the federal art contest for middle school. I don't know if she's here. We can carry this over to the next board meeting.
Okay.
So that was it. Thanks.
All right, next we have presentation of awards by the VFW, presented by John Denny and/or Mike Roseberry. So please tell us who you are. You're Mr. Denny, I see it. Welcome.
I brought with me my auxiliary treasurer, Pamela Denny. We are related. Every year the VFW holds several contests. We select a teacher of the year from the Glades County. We select a winner for the Voice of Democracy. And this year it was the theme was, what are the greatest attributes of American democracy? It's a 3-minute audio essay that the students have to record on a flash drive, submitted, and it's voted on in our post, and if it's a satisfactory winner, it moves on to the next level, which is called a district. The district is comprised of 6 counties, 3 in the heartland, Highland, Glades, and Okeechobee, and 3 on the coast, Martin, St. Lucie, and Indian River. So it's a very large, quite a large geographic area, and there's 10 VFW posts like mine in Buckhead Ridge. I'll get into a little bit deeper about the particular winner of the one of the other contests, but the Teacher of the Year this year was selected from this high school as Mrs. Michelle Q. Pronounced correctly. This award is given by your co-workers. They're nominated and present to us, and we selected you. So unlike the other awards, this includes a check. So it makes it a little bit more nicer. Michelle, you get VFW Post 9528 Teacher of the Year for Glades County. Thank you. The next award is for, sorry.
Hold on, I'm sorry. I was so excited, I was just watching.
So this next award is going to be for the contest I just mentioned. It's for high school students. And the topic of what are the greatest attributes of American democracy. And the winner selected this year for first place was Jo Ellen Erskine. Well, for the Veterans of Foreign Wars via Voice of Democracy 2023 essay contest, what are the greatest attributes of American democracy? Here's your first place plaque and check. You're welcome.
I'm getting shorter.
I'd like to add what Mrs. Downing commented on, and especially emphasize the role that the teachers have in this next contest, because they're very important in getting these youngsters motivated. The final category is the Patriots Pen. It's for middle school students. It's a written essay, 300 words plus or minus 100. And as I mentioned earlier, the area that this contest encompasses is very large, and the winner of this school's competition won the District 11 competition. So out of these 6 counties, this particular student won the District 11 competition. And I have to say that her essay and the second place essay was first voted on at our post, and we had 4 judges, myself, my wife, and 2 other individuals. My wife and I are both teachers. I taught language arts and science. She taught algebra, so we know how an essay is supposed to be written. We know, and so, but the surprising thing was the winner got 3 of the first place votes and 1 second place vote. The second place got 1 first place vote and 3 second place. So they're very, very close, and we just had to select one. Once this contest got to the next level, the district, like I said, the 6 counties, I had selected 10 judges, myself not included, and these are independent. They didn't know where the kids came from, so there wouldn't be any favoritism. And they voted, each post selected 1 winner, and that was our selection, the one that ultimately won the district. And the judges voted on those. And I'll go over the third place result. And the theme of the competition was, how are you inspired by America? Okay, so the third place winner, and check for $50, goes to Diana Delfina Dolores Ortiz. Congratulations, very nice. Get a picture. And the second place winner, if you recall, I mentioned this was a very tough call, but someone had to get first and someone had to get second. Is awarded to Vianna A. Lewis for a $100 check and this. Vianna, pronounced correctly. That's how you, congratulations. And finally, if I may, it'll only take a couple minutes, because I found this to be from a language arts teacher's point of view, well written, followed all the instructions, cited, did her citing, and I'll read her essay. It started off with a quote from our first president, George Washington, in 1775. Every post is honorable in which a man can serve his country. The United States of America is an extremely inspiring country, not only because of its history, but because of its government and cultural structure. America allows you to have a free education without restrictions or parameters, and allows future generations to have a stable and healthy life. America has many generous, loyal citizens that give back to those in need and honor those who fought for this great country. I have personally experienced immigration. I am from a very different country, and arriving in the United States gave me a completely different perspective of what life is like. Many American kids don't understand it and see it the way I do, but this country has many beautiful things and amazing opportunities. One example of these amazing opportunities is university degrees. The United States offers community colleges and public universities, allowing almost anyone to get a college education, unlike many other countries. There are university scholarships for families that cannot afford it. Students can also get loans that have forgiveness and leniency. America takes this much more seriously than other countries, valuing hard work and sacrifice. And the salary for most jobs is good enough to meet basic needs such as groceries and rent. America also provides to those in need, such as the homeless, low-income families, and suffering veterans. Many Americans help support these people by creating shelters and food centers. This really inspires me to improve as a person, knowing that there are generous people. Helping and welcoming those in need is inspiring and shows the values of many great Americans. These people are highly loyal to their flag and country. They feel great pride, which inspires me every day to be proud of my roots and where I came from, because one always has to be grateful for what their family members have sacrificed to come to this glorious country. In conclusion, the United States inspires me to become a better person, to fight for my dreams and family, make new friends, and work hard for what I want. I wish my peers could see it through my eyes and feel inspired the way I do. They would aspire to become better people for the future of the United States of America. After all, we are the future of this great nation. Written by Miss Alicia Greco.
Is she here?
Is she not here?
She's not here.
Well,
That's too bad. Well,
She can watch the video.
I'll take it on my behalf, I'll accept it on my behalf, and that's
Do we know what grade she's in? Wow, that's
I think she's taught by
8th grade,
Nicole,
Nicole Davis.
is that 7th grade?
8th.
8th grade?
That's amazing.
Okay. All right.
is her check for?
Okay, thank you very much.
How much is her check?
And that check was made out to, oh, don't forget Parkville, well, $200. So that would be a great little gift for her, and also, you both said that you were teachers, correct? So our HR department is open, and we'd love to sign you up to be teachers, so welcome aboard. I will also let the board know that Mr. Denny and Ms. Denny have been very, very gracious, not just, they always were giving, and they've always been very supportive of our district, so we want to thank you and all that you do for us. So
Thank you very much.
I'd just like to add that Denny's also gave a scholarship from the Moorhaven High School Scholarship Organization this year too, so thank you for that as well. All right, we're gonna take a short 2-minute recess in case anybody wants to slip out. We'll be right back in 2 minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, so we'll move to the public comment on agenda items. Do we have any public comment? Okay, all right, thank you, Jackie. We'll move to the consent agenda. Does anyone have anything on the consent agenda that needs to be pulled? Okay, seeing none, I'll be looking for a motion.
Motion.
Have a motion from Ms. Clement to approve the consent agenda. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Prowant. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we're gonna move to, there is no action agenda, so we'll move to number 8, amended agenda items. 8.1, approval of Garland Roofing and Services proposal for Moorhaven Elementary School.
I could not get that to open,
Okay,
so I did not know the amount, but I'll make a motion.
You
okay.
wanna see it real quick?
I'm done, so we can discuss it.
Okay,
I made the motion.
second.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Pierce, a second by Ms. Allen to approve.
What was the total amount? Is it
Um,
60?
It's 77,037 is the total maximum.
Okay.
But then they gave 59,951.
Oh, okay. Good. I was wondering if there was a, I couldn't get the.
Okay, all right. Mr. Boyles, do you have anything you want to say to us about it? Anybody have questions for him?
Yeah, I appreciate the board moving forward with this to make these needed repairs at the elementary school. As you can see on that, it was for a 3-year period that the warranty will be valid during that period. That should bridge us until the opening of the new school.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Boyles, for all your hard work on that.
No, thank you.
It's his office.
Is he in your office right now?
Not currently. Yeah.
All right, so we have a motion, we have a second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, any opposed? Seeing none, motion carries.
Yeah, don't leave anything important on your desk or out.
All right, we're gonna move on to general public comments. Do we have any? All right, we'll move on. Oh, we do? Did you fill your card out?
Yes,
You got it, awesome.
I have it here.
Okay, come on down. We know you, Mr. Humphries. Come on down.
Teacher, I will. But we may have a chance of a lot of engineers with all those math scores.
Absolutely.
Something?
Absolutely,
Yeah, I mean,
that's great.
That's a great accomplishment, right? Isn't that what you taught, Ms. Prowan?
That is what I taught.
That's what I
But I
taught.
didn't teach any of those children.
No, but still, anyway.
Probably their parents.
Maybe their parents.
Maybe. Some of their parents.
I graduated before you got to teach math.
Yes, you did.
Yeah. So anyhow, at a meeting the other night when I talked about the chamber being open and I wanted to do this in the same manner that I had made the mistake, but I had some bad intel about Carl and them trying to get grants, and they had put him. I think that finally I about figured out that the Democrat done an article that wasn't right. But I'd like everybody to understand that Carl, I didn't mean anything ill will to him or anything else. And if I make a mistake in the public, I'll correct it in the public.
Thank you.
Well, that's very admirable, George. I
Thank you.
appreciate you coming back and clarifying
Oh, yeah.
that. That's awesome. Thank you.
And
I'm sure he
then,
does too.
oh, well, sure. The,
Yeah, but a lot of people don't admit their mistakes, so I admire that a lot.
well, when you live by the sword, you're gonna die by it sometimes. And in the, I guess this is a public comment, but in the roof quote, I thought that was, Mr. Boyles did a real good job because of the thing that if you read in there in depthly of it, and there could be another cost in there or something if they see it, but it will be priced at the scheduling they use, which is a big deal. Because, contractors that want to back charge you, that's where they really think they can make money.
We're hoping in the next 3 years prices go down.
All of us are. Everybody involved, thank you.
Thank you, George. We appreciate that very much. All right, we're gonna move to information items. Is that meetings coming up, or did I skip something?
Yes.
Yeah, I did. Board member comments, I'm sorry. So we'll start with Ms. Prowant. Do you have any comments, Ms. Prowant?
I do, but it's just one positive thing. I'm just sitting here thinking about how amazing these recognitions were tonight. And I get kind of emotional when I think about this because we're a public school system. The makeup of our student body is so different than many of the private schools. And to see all these different racial groups, the diversity represented, we had Indian, we had Hispanic, we had white, we had African American. You don't see that in some non-public schools. The parents of these kids are from all socioeconomic backgrounds. Some of the parents are highly educated, some didn't even graduate from high school, and yet their kids are excelling in our schools, and I think that is a real pat on the back, I guess, for our staff at the schools, our principals and assistant principals and teachers and non-instructional, and then all the way up to the district office level where the support goes into the schools. It just makes me really happy.
It makes me very proud.
Thank
And
you.
it's a testament.
Thank you. Okay, pass the tissues down. There you go.
There you go.
Anything else, Ms.
There.
Prowant?
No, that's all.
Okay. All right, Miss Allen, can you follow that, Miss Allen?
No. Oh, me of little words. No, I just wanted to say, gosh, I was really proud to be part of the Glades County School District last night and then again today. What a wonderful group of everybody we have here. It's priceless, and a lot of people don't get to experience it on other boards because they don't have a little place that everybody knows everybody, and sometimes it's a good thing that everybody knows everybody, and this is one of them.
Yes, thank you. Well said. All right, Ms. Pierce?
I just echo both of them. And I just think it's great that we're able to serve all the different diversity that we have and that we see them excel. It just, I think it's testament is what I said, that we are equal and our teachers are amazing. And I think that we have a lot to be proud of.
Agreed, thank you. All right, Ms. Clement?
I echo everything you guys said. Last night was so awesome. The food was amazing. Not that I was just there for the food, that's not what I'm saying. It was just great to get to fellowship with people in a small room and then to move into that big auditorium. That's a gigantic auditorium, and to see it halfway filled with people supporting our teachers. I seen a lot of tears shed
It's
last
my
night.
invitation, so more probably would have been there if it wasn't.
It was open to the public. But it was just good to see the people that were so happy and supportive of our teachers. The kids today coming in here, when we said the Lord's Prayer, I had chills. Every once in a while when we get to say our prayer in here and it echoes, like there's just so much volume here, and it's to stand on the dais and hear that is overwhelming and makes you so proud of our students and our community. Just congratulations to those kids for the VFW, our FAST test recipients. That's amazing to me. I, for one, never was able to receive an award like that in elementary school, so I'm extremely proud of those children. This next week, 3 of us will be in Tallahassee, and we will be learning lots of information about what's going on and coming down the pipeline for education. And I'm excited to learn about all of the new things. I'm trying my best to be the best of the best board member that I can be for you guys. It's a lot of learning, and it's a lot of forgetting too. So learning as you forget, I'm doing my best for you guys, and I thank you for putting your trust into me as well.
Thank you, Ms. Clement, well said. So, speaking of Tallahassee, that was one of the things I had down. I wanted to just let everybody know, our legislative committee is watching the committee meetings. We watched the Senate opening session yesterday. They have fast-tracked the deregulation bills. So those will they may even be finished with those by the time we get there next week, because they are really pushing for those to get passed. There was a little change in the 3rd grade test. I think the parent was gonna have a lot of input and say on the 3rd grade, and I think they kind of reined back a little bit on that. But as far as the high school test requirements for a diploma, that is all passing through. So, and also there was something new I learned today, the GED. In the past, students had to fit a lot of criteria to be able to sit for it, and they're trying to make it so that 16 and 17-year-olds, if their parent wants them to sit for it, that they can. Which I did talk to our person and said, man, it's a shame that those count against us. You know, when a kid takes the GED, it counts against our graduation rate. And that's a shame, and that's something that we need to work on, because some kids have just a lot of gaps and a lot of issues, and for many reasons, the GED is the best route for them. And a lot of I have a friend that had a GED and went on to obtain a master's. There's nothing to be ashamed of with a GED. So, anyway, that's where all I think that's all gonna pass, I'm hoping. I did want to ask, Dr. Barfield, I think I mentioned this to you, and then sometimes when you and I are talking, we get going everywhere and I forget to go back. But the impact fee issue, I wanted to follow up and see. I thought you said Ms. Fisher called you.
She sent an email.
Okay.
And then I have not heard any, and I haven't reached out, to be honest, I haven't reached
Okay.
back out to her. I know, I believe maybe her mom or her
Father,
father passed
yeah.
away. And I think she,
Yeah.
there was a little lapse there. I will reach back out to
Okay.
her. I've heard bits and pieces at community meetings and kind of listened to what the commissioners are saying. But as far as she and I speaking, I have not.
I think the main thing we need to know is how much do they want us to kick in?
Okay.
I mean, that's what they're asking, is for us to help pay for the study.
Correct.
And a lot of times I think studies are a waste of money, but I think in this case, the study is legally required.
It
So that
It
would
might be a
just,
waste of money, but it's required.
yeah, isn't that tricky? Isn't that tricky? So anyway, I think that's all that I had. Dr. Barfield, it's your turn.
Yes, all right. And I was gonna try to find, the email from her, but, I can pull it up later and find it. I guess I just want to, I really don't have a lot, but I just want to, congratulate the Teacher of the Year finalists as well as winners. I had a lot of compliments last night on my social media as well as the district social media. Had a lot of inboxes that said, it was a great program. One of the things that I have probably had the most comments on, which really just, I wish now, you always play, I wish I'd have done this differently, or I wish I'd have said this differently. But a lot of people really love that we brought the past winners on the stage.
I was gonna say that, the
And that
involvement
we,
of everyone.
and that we talked about, the significance. And so I think that's definitely a tradition that I want to start for next year. To make sure that we do that every year, and maybe start, as soon as we get the date, start advertising that to try to get more teachers, because I think that, you win it and then it's kind of like a 1-year thing. But the food, I agree with Kim, was outstanding. What really spoke to me last night was when all of the winners, not just the teachers, but the support teachers, got up and spoke. The pride in their schools and how much that they enjoyed coming to work, and that really meant a lot to me, because I can tell you as a past principal, if someone was happy and they wanted to be there, they were going to do a good job. So I wanted to, Mr. Doty's here tonight. I wanted to welcome him again, and I know this is his second board meeting, but I've heard, you get a phone call and it's like, oh gosh, here we go. And I get a phone call and they're like, I just want you to know that new guy, that elementary school is amazing. I love him. And one thing that spoke huge to me was yesterday I talked to him, and it wasn't, oh my gosh, this school isn't a mess. He was very positive, and anyone that's been in administration will appreciate this. He said, I got to go into 12 classrooms. And one of the teachers that he went in, and I don't mean to embarrass you, Mr. Doty, but this means a lot to me. One of the teachers that he went in, and I won't say her name, but she said, he stayed in my class like 15 minutes. And actually, she was like 14 minutes. And I'm like, 14 minutes? Like, were you timing him? But she's like, it went by so fast. He made me feel really good. So I think that's a wonderful thing. And I'm looking forward to huge gains at Moorhaven Elementary School. I don't know if this is the time to bring this up, but if it is, please direct me, that we can talk about it later. I want to talk about our workshop prior to the meetings. When you and I and the rest of the board brought this up, I think that we had an idea in our head of how it was going to go. And I'm not sure that that's really what's happening. I feel like a lot of times that we don't have enough time to talk about what we wanna talk about, and then we're cut short. And if we're really gonna maximize that, I mean, if we could do it once a month and make it an hour long, I mean, whatever you all want to do. I know that we voted on this in our organizational meeting, but as I've said to each of you, you know, I'm that superintendent who I like to hear, even if we don't agree, and that's okay, I like to hear what you're thinking and why you're thinking it, because when I do make a decision, I do make a recommendation, I wanna make sure that I've thought through all the different options, you know.
So it just needs to be longer, cause we can't do it once a month, cause you got 2 meetings.
Well, that's what I wanted to hear, kind of what you all want to do. I mean, an hour's a long time if there's nothing on, I mean, I wish there was a way that we could call it if we needed it. I mean, how does that work?
It seems to me that everything we talked about in the workshop this evening could have been handled here in the meeting. We make a motion, we get a second, and then we have discussion, and all the questions or discussions that we had prior could have been part of the discussion process in the approval of something, the questions that we had.
So maybe when we know that we're gonna have a sticky subject or something that needs to be talked about weeks in advance before you put it on the agenda, then we'll just call a workshop on those kind of meetings.
So I guess this is,
You have to
I'm gonna need
advertise it, right?
your advice on this. What I would like to know is, I'm gonna continue speaking with the board members individually, because I feel like that's something that's really worked. I think that makes this great. But if, let's say, something's coming up and it's gonna be, they get their agenda, and then if, let's say, Crystal called me and Jenny called me. If I've got 2 board members that have called me on a specific subject, could I call a workshop?
They have
I
to
think
be
it has to be
advertised.
advertised.
And that's
Okay.
my next question too, is we've already put this into the state with our organizational meeting, and we've already done our mandatory advertising, that's gonna have us redoing that again, is that correct?
It is,
It's
yeah.
not a big deal.
Yeah.
really.
Okay, that's what
You
I
know,
need to know.
it has the same legal status as postponing one of your 2 monthly meetings. The legal requirement is that you only have to have 1 meeting a month. That's required. Okay, so if we have a schedule set up for 2 meetings a month and workshops, that can all be switched around by board action or, hurricane or whatever. And that's not a big deal.
I don't have to do anything with the state, because when I
No.
send in the organizational thing.
The
I
state
have to
only
send all
cares,
those meetings, okay.
state only checks to see if you're having 1 meeting.
I don't wanna speak for the board, I'm just speaking for me personally. I mean, and here's the thing, I know that it was brought up in the meeting that, I have to meet with each of you and it takes so much out, I don't mind that, that is my job, I enjoy that. I enjoy getting your, I truly do, but I wanna make it whatever is what the board, it's what you want me to do and what makes it functioning the best it can.
Well, I don't think that the workshop as it has been so far, now we've only had 2, is fruitful at all. And quite frankly, whenever I have something, I get my ducks in a row in my head, I call you and it's a 5-minute deal usually. I mean, I know everybody's not the same as I am, but, I'm not that crazy about it.
I think when and I could be wrong, but I think when we talked about this originally, we felt like we got to the board meetings and we couldn't talk about it in the.
Which is not true.
Okay, so.
We can talk about it, that's
We
what the
can talk
motion, the
about it.
second, and then talk.
But what it's for is that you can answer questions and the whole board is there, so we can hear the answers all
Okay.
together and the questions. And then whenever we get to the meeting, we don't have to do that, we can just vote.
Yeah, but.
It should make the meeting go smoother and quicker, instead of stopping on every single thing and saying, well, I want the people to hear what I have to say. you know, I mean, it's just, that's not part of the
Well,
meeting.
we don't have time in a workshop to talk about, what if every single item on here, one person had a question about every single thing on there? There's no way we
Yeah,
can set up
30
a
minutes
workshop.
is not long enough.
It's either
Well, if we have-
make it longer or don't have
If we have
it.
an agenda that's coming up that's sticky, then you just say, we're gonna do it, and for an hour. I mean, if it has to be, it has to be.
Mr. McKinley, I have a question. So, a lot of, like, for example, tonight, Ms. Clement had a question about the metal detectors. Like, she didn't really know the history about it or whatever, and a very legitimate question. So, if she were to send, and we've talked about this, Dr. Barfield, that if she sent the question in an email to Dr. Barfield, hey, what's up with the metal detectors? You know, where'd that come from? I need more information. If Dr. Barfield then gave that to, you know, forwarded that email to Mr. Gressett, or if she sent it to both of them, would save time. And then they've told us before, under Carol's direction, that director would then respond to her question, but would send it to all board members with the note, do not respond.
Right.
And then that way, that would kind of solve the issue that we've got about not hearing each other's questions.
Yeah,
But I'm so leery about doing that because I get emails that they don't get, and I'm sure vice versa. And I'm always leery to forward it to the board members. I did this week. I sent something to you all, and I was petrified because I don't want to break sunshine, but there's information. If one of us has it, I believe we all need it.
Absolutely.
There's nothing wrong with pushing information out, you know, coming out of administration in response to a question that touches everybody. But you have to be careful about not responding, I agree, or sounds good to me. That's the offense. That part of it, that's a violation of sunshine. But in other districts, a massive amount of information is pushed out to the board, maybe in response to a really good question like the example that you're giving. That's really a good thing because it lets everybody receive the same information at the same time. You just have to remember to not say, oh, that sounds great on the string.
I even fell into that. I was like, what happened to mine? How come I can't read mine? And I said that on, well, with everybody being able to see, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I just said
But like, so, okay, so like if Kim would have, what I would have preferred, this is me, I would have preferred Kim to send a email. Hey, Dr. Barfield, got a question. I'm looking on the agenda. It doesn't have to be this formal, but I'm just saying for the sake of, looking on the agenda. Or the question you specifically had was, were these the same? The same. You could have sent that and put do not respond, or you wouldn't have put do not respond. You could just say, are these the same?
Her answer would say do not respond if you're sending it to everybody.
And then if I responded, I could forward to the board and put do not discuss, but these were the same. Correct?
I think you have to start a whole new string. Dear board, the question was asked, were the metal detectors, about an item on the agenda?
One of the ways to avoid problems is don't let the board, as board members, we don't initiate strings to the whole board. We just don't do it. If you have something like that, you send it to administration, and then administration exercises its wisdom and judgment and says, everybody needs to hear this, and pushes it back out with do not respond at the bottom.
Well, see, that's not what I did this week. Someone sent me an email and I forwarded it to all the board, the superintendent and you. And I said, please do not respond at the top of the email.
See, I think it's better to have administration handle that traffic.
Okay.
Because
So I need to email it, forward it to her and say, please disseminate
please
to
send
the
this,
board.
push this out to everybody, because that
I was
way,
really surprised when I got one with your name on it. I was
yeah,
like,
that way the archive is correct, right?
Okay.
You know what I mean? We're supposed to keep a complete archive of all of that, and that's part of administration's job. So that's when the system works ideally.
Does that work for you, Dr.
Oh,
Barfield?
it absolutely works for me. And I do want to say, and I've said this to my principals, I've said this to my staff, my directors have all heard this. If you email me and I respond at 2, 3 in the morning, you do not have to respond to me at 2 and 3 in the morning. That's how I work. So I don't want you to, I try to prioritize. If you just sent it to something today, I wouldn't have probably got to it because I do try, you can ask Jackie, if the board, if any of you call me, or if any of you email me, I do try, I got, Ms. Pro emailed me, let me get, I do try to, put you up at the top of the priority list, or Jackie says, hey, so-and-so.
We know who does that.
Right, I know.
My sisters taught me about that. They said, Quinn, Dean's next to my bed, you're waking me up.
But I don't want to be the Debbie Downer here, but I want to see us be as efficient as possible. And I am proud of our school board, and I'm proud of the fact that you all have endured. We've gone through several things in the past 4 years, and I think we've done a really good job. And I think part of what makes that work is the continuation of the conversation. It just because it's not, somebody that gets mad or someone gets, I want to continue to see this being a functioning system. And I think the way to do that is to not do the workshops and just do emails and calling special meetings if it is a necessity. So I don't know how that will come about. Is that something we have to vote on? I don't know. That's how I didn't know if I needed to bring it up when I did.
It has to be on the next month's agenda.
She can, if you get there, then you would make a recommendation, a written recommendation, okay. It's my recommendation that we do da-da-da-da-da-da, and that we change whatever it is. And then that's on the agenda for the board to discuss and vote up or down at the next meeting.
Okay. Does anybody want to say any comments about it now while it's on the floor, or do you want to wait till the next meeting?
I think we did.
No, we didn't hear from everyone.
Well, I think that the reason I wanted to start having workshops is because I felt like when I went to Dr. Barfield, which I'm probably one that was there more often than anybody else other than maybe Crystal.
I'm not saying.
Not to mention any names.
Were y'all running? Is there a competition I didn't know about? I'm just gonna say.
But the reason I felt like I would go to Dr. Barfield and we would have a conversation, and it was just between the two of us, and I wanted the other board members to know how I felt. And the only way to let the other board members know how I felt would be either to bring it up in a meeting or to have a workshop, because it had to be in the sunshine. I don't know that having the workshop is any better than bringing it to the meeting. It'll make our meetings longer, but we're adding 30 minutes to it having the workshop, so I just don't know. I haven't really given it that much thought, but to me, like, to go back to what I said earlier, I think everything that we talked about in the workshop could have been done here in the meeting. If Kim had not gotten her answer prior, she could have asked it at the meeting after the second to the motion. We could have put update on the new elementary school on the agenda for the meeting and had that same discussion here. So I'm not sure we accomplished anything. And I don't know, again, my purpose for pushing for a workshop was that I wanted everybody to know how I felt, not just Dr. Barfield.
Well, and not just how you feel, but what your question is, what you're confused about, what you want to know more about. It's not just how you stand on something, but like if there's something on the financial that you catch and you see, man, this doesn't look right, this is wrong, then we all, that brings our attention then. Wow, Jean called that, let me look at that again. You know what I mean? So it's not just to know our opinion, but it's to better understand the things that are in front of us. And I wanted the workshop too, just because a workshop is a little more relaxed. That's why, we were trying to sit down there. It's not quite as formal. If our meetings were like this with just this few people, there is no reason. Mr. Doty, did you have a comment?
I'm very badly.
Okay.
For consideration, generally workshops are designed for the board as information dissemination. So for instance, you're about to approach the budget. And so you're gonna start, once the state brings down and money's come into the district, then what would happen is you guys would get a complete outlay of the budget before it would come to you for a vote, right? So the idea behind workshops is really designed to present information to the board for you to have conversation on. So if there were things like with the property, or there's budgetary allocations, personnel, all those different things, where in that workshop, you get all that information. Then when you get up there, then that's when the conversation happens. So the workshops are not necessarily attached to every meeting. Workshops are generally called when the board has questions in a previous meeting or an upcoming where you need that additional time, so that, let's say, the finance director can put the budget in front of you guys and do a presentation about where all of the money is going in terms of allocations and transportation, and really kind of give you line items and explain it.
And in the past, that's how we've done it.
Because
We do have workshops that
Right,
are
and that's
before
generally
budget.
all of that's what it would be for. And then I heard you guys talking about sensitive, and I have never heard you guys mention anything about doing an executive session. So that is.
Well, executive sessions are when we're in court with
Yeah,
someone.
it's very limited what we can do in
there's
executive
very
session.
little that we can do.
Well, and the other thing is, and thank you, Mr. Doty, the other thing is, when we originally discussed this, and we were coming up with this, oh, this is gonna be great. What I envisioned was the directors all being here, because, typically they don't have to be at every school board meeting. I don't ask the principals, it's not a requirement. The only reason I ask them to be available is if they have something on the agenda. But when I was thinking about this, I'm like, oh, it'll be great, because let's say Patty has a question about an HR situation, and the directors are here. Patty can specifically say, Gabby, da-da-da-da, and then you all hear it. So you all get the same answer. I don't want any one of you to feel like, oh, well, Ms. Promont's always getting all the information. She never shares anything with us. So I wanted to be fair, and I wanted to be able to give everybody the same information at the same time. So I think the very first time we did it, and we were in the back, and we had all the directors sitting there, and it just didn't go that way. I thought, well, maybe it was just the way that we were crunched in the back, and then I don't know. And if I think the efficiency needs to be worked on, or, and like I said, I can bring it up for a vote the next time, and then I can, continue working on how to present this to you. I just don't feel in the past too that it was, I'm not saying it was a waste of our time, because anytime we're all together, we get to, talk about education, it's a win-win. But I want to be able to utilize the time in the best possible way.
And are the workshops, Mr. McKinley, are they optional, or do we need a forum for a workshop?
I can't remember a board ever conducting a workshop without at least a quorum. In my experience, boards will maybe set a time of the month, for example, that's if we're gonna have a workshop, it's during this slot, and then a lot of times it'll be canceled, or it'll
Right.
be very short, or whatever is appropriate, or it'll be an executive session instead for collective bargaining, or something like that, right? So that you
So they have an established day that everybody can
if
put
you
on
have
the
a time and
calendar.
place, then you can try to squeeze your executive your sessions and special meetings
Yeah.
and the workshops all into that 1, 2, or 4 hour slot a month.
Right. That's
Oh,
not a bad
another
idea.
thing Mr. Doty needs to understand is that some of our board members are new. Jenny and I are old. We've been here a long time. We've been here a long time.
I'll own it, I don't care.
I'll own it even more than you.
I think I'm older than both of you.
For me and coming for you, Jenny.
I don't know, like 16, too
and
many.
she's a year. Crystal's 5.
Five.
And Jean's 3. So it's, you know, they have questions that we might not have.
In other districts, workshops and board meetings do not happen on the same day. So like in Orange County, there's one day a month that's a workshop, and then another week is the board meeting that's directly connected to what happens during that workshop. So there's not a rush of, I've got 30 minutes or an hour, only an hour. They're specifically planned that way, so the board can work and get the information they need.
Right.
So when it comes to voting in the very next board meeting, you're making an informed decision, and you've had enough time to hear the information and collect your own information.
And in the past, our board shops that we do have, that we know that we have to have, are 2 and 3 hours sometimes, because we're working on policies and we're working on budgets and, you know, we know it's gonna be a long time, but she was just trying to make it convenient. I mean, I live 60 miles.
And we have people that work on our board, and in those big counties, that's their job, is they get a big salary and they don't have another job, so,
They get a big salary?
yeah, yes.
How much?
Just not winning tonight.
Orange County is
Oh, I
probably
thought you
pretty
meant, I thought you
big.
meant the people that work are getting a big
anyway.
salary, I'm like,
Okay, so with that.
Just put it on the
I'll
next
just put it on the
agenda.
next, and we can
We'll have
absolutely.
time to think about it, except Ms. Clement, did you want to say anything about it? Everybody spoke about it, but I didn't want to cut you out. Did you want to comment or not?
I do wanna say, a lot of times, there's more people than we can count that look at our agenda, and sometimes they want questions, and they wanna, something on the consent agenda. So sometimes if I pull that consent agenda, they just wanna hear what everybody has to say on the dais together, and what their thoughts are, and what the questions can be answered off of that.
Then they need to come
And
and
there's
do it.
no reason why you can't pull. You
Then
could
they
have,
need to
That's-
do it.
that's
you
why
could
I do
have
it, and they won't
pulled
come
that
to these
question
meetings.
tonight about the metal detectors. Had we not already discussed it out there and you got your answer at the meeting, you could have said, I wanna pull this.
100%.
You know.
Yeah.
But I think that we need to remember that the operational questions need to be, like, questions about what's the status of, like, I'm just trying to think, if there's specific operational questions, those are questions that need to be sent to me anytime you get them. That doesn't need to be for a school board meeting.
Yeah, if it's something that's not in our lane,
Correct.
It's not on the
Then-
agenda.
And I hope you've learned this about me. I'm not gonna sit here and go, I'm not talking about that with you because that's not in your lane. I'm not gonna do that because I want you to have all the answers that you need for any questions you have. But there are questions that are operational questions that you could just send me an email and say, hey, Dr. Barfield, why is the cafeteria only serving chocolate milk? That's a question that's an operational question. That has nothing to do with policy. And if it is, then I could say, hey, well, actually,
we ran out of the other.
we ran out. I mean, it's not something, those questions, and I think as a board member, and I have never been a school board member, but I can tell you, my mom was a school board member for 18 years, and I can tell you, one of the things I remember her saying is, people call me and they want to complain or they want to tell me what the problem is. My role as a school board member is to remember that I'm not the superintendent. I'm not the principal of the school. There's a huge distinction in what does a school board member do and what does a superintendent do. And as a school, if you get a phone call and they're complaining, my kid can only have vanilla milk, well, your response is, have you called and spoke to the principal, or and if the principal, I just think that sometimes we get into, I don't want the workshops to turn into operational, okay, I got a list of 40 things that I'm gonna go through. Email them. I'm gonna always be available. I'm gonna always be open to all of you for anybody's question.
and you can go back to your constituents.
Correct.
If they called and they complained about the milk, you can tell, and I've done that. Hey, I want you to know, I talked to the superintendent and this is what she said, and I throw the superintendent under the bus all the time. I mean, I say, that's not my role, that's not my lane, you need to call the superintendent. Because I can't defend actions that I don't know anything about, that I don't know all the facts, I wasn't there. And I'm not saying to do that, but if it's not our responsibility, we shouldn't be blasted for it. And just like, you know, on Facebook the other day, we got blasted, school board got blasted on a decision that is not our lane. That, you know, I mean.
I tried.
But anyway,
Did they?
I understand what she's saying though, because your constituents want to know, are you addressing that?
You had that in the beginning too, and I told Crystal then, years ago, it's like you come in here and you've got this 2 sheets of paper and you're dropping bombs on us, it's like you're telling on us. What are you doing? Why are you doing that? Why didn't you ask her back there?
So let me just, I wanna
There's a time and place for it, and I think
change
it's
this kind of
wrong.
direction as conversation. So I want to bring up about the calling school. As a superintendent, that is one of the most difficult decisions that you have to make. Not the most difficult, but it's one of the most difficult decisions is to call school or to stay in session. When we knew that the storm was coming, I made several calls to the public safety director, and I had Mr. Boyles and Mr. Gressick in my office. We discussed pros, we discussed cons, we looked at weather, we contacted the weather service, we looked at the news stations, we called public safety again, and the public safety director said, you need to cancel. The winds, right now we're unsure, and it looks like that it's going to be between 10 and, I believe they said the winds were going to hit between 10 and 4, with the worst being 10 and 7, with the worst being right around dismissal. And so I called the Department of Education, I spoke with Chancellor Burns, I explained. He agreed with me. You know, our Glades County has very long bus transportation routes just because of how our county is laid out. That is no one's fault. Another thing that the general public does not know is that students are required a certain amount of seat time. Because we're what it's called, considered a one-tier busing system. That means when I was in Lee County, I want to say at my elementary school, we had 4 different tiers of busing. That means there would be, like, I don't know how many buses. You remember, Mr. Boyles?
There's 26 buses
In a tier. So, I mean, you're talking, we've only got like 11 buses. So we have seat time that we had that was built into our schedule where we could take that day off and our kids would not have to make that day up. So, and that's been in Glades County for years. That's great planning. So kudos to past administration for, it's been going for many, many years. It continues, and that's what we have today. So I made the decision based on the safety of students. I'm never going to apologize for that, and I'll take heat all day long. You know, I was reading the comments, and it was like half of them said, you know, oh my gosh, it's the worst decision I've ever heard, and half said it was the best decision. And I put out there, and I stand behind this. If I wanted to make everybody happy, I would sell ice cream. I am not an ice cream seller. I am a superintendent of schools. I sided on the side of safety, and there we go. But there was a lot of people involved. It wasn't Dr. Barfield sitting in her office throwing up a dice and going, if it lands on a 5, we're going to cancel it. If it don't, we're not. I mean, there was a lot to it. I relied on people that their job is to tell me what's in the best of the county. And it was not anything about rain. It had nothing. It was all about the wind. You know, I woke up that morning. I remember when, as soon as I opened my eyes, I looked outside thinking, please, Lord, let it be blowing a little hard. Don't let it be, you know, I wanted everybody to be safe. But you know, like I said, making people happy is not probably on the top 50 of my priority list. I'm going to always do what's best for kids.
And it was good that we didn't have the teacher of the year too, because right when the wind hit and the rain hit, I would have been blown off the road because I would have been traveling home.
So, and the only other thing I had, which we kind of discussed in the workshop, was that I am so excited about the technology department, and we, as a board, you all have spent a lot of money, and you have invested a lot of resources. You've probably
That was
taken a lot of
workshop
phone
time.
calls.
Workshop time has y'all's computers going.
You know, I understand, it was a process that did not take overnight, and I'm not saying that there's not gonna be a hiccup now and then, but it's 100% better than where it was. Like I said, the vape detectors were going off today, left and right, and had 13. I mean, that's huge.
Were the students aware?
Or they had no clue.
They weren't aware ahead of time that it was coming.
Nope.
I think that's wonderful.
So, anyway, the only other thing I want to bring up, and then I know that you all want to leave and go home. We have our next meeting, February the 8th. The next meeting after that is, I don't know when, but Challenger is March 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So the Challenger Parade is March 2nd. I want us to be thinking, we don't need to vote or anything like that on it, but I want you all to be thinking about what we're writing in and what you want to do for that. So I don't want to wait till the last
March
minute.
2nd.
March 2nd. Mm-hmm.
And I think you all saw on the email that I copied you, that I hope I don't get in trouble for, that we also invited Representative Tuck and Senator Grawl to ride with us this year if they want to. And session will probably be over by then, so they might be able to.
I don't know if anyone told Mr. Doty, I probably failed to do so. Any new principal that's in the district, it's required that you ride a horse in the parade.
Way better than I thought it was gonna be.
I don't wanna point out the obvious, but, that's not my skill set.
I was gonna say, you're not a cowboy.
I bet you can.
I'll ride a bike a lot better.
Okay.
And a lot farther than I can ride a horse.
Okay.
Dr. Bar-
We're just kidding.
Oh.
Dr. Barfield.
Never tell.
The bus was, still, Dr. Barfield, the bus is still the best. Everybody's on there, all our stuff is secure, we're safe.
We might need to.
Dr. Barfield, I don't want to drag the meeting out, so make this quick, okay? But I do have one quick question. I want to thank you for putting the new school on the workshop agenda. I think we need to move it to the regular agenda though, right? To the regular meeting agenda since, and I mean, that's what I thought we said. I was surprised when I saw it on the workshop. I'm like, that should be on the meeting agenda. We need an update on the new elementary school at every meeting, is
So
what I'm saying.
that will be, that is
Okay.
when, absolutely, that was,
Okay.
actually, you will be getting, that's when we talked about that, all that will be, you'll be getting updates through the construction company as well.
Right.
It'll be on from now on, there will be on every.
Okay.
It was just because of
And
our
Mr. Gressett can give them
situation.
to us in the interim before they get started. Just, you know, on this property issue, whatever's going on, so we can all hear it together and everybody can be on the same page. I wanted quickly to know about the email threat. Like, could you tell the board and the public, like, what happened with that and why we were so late to get notified?
Okay, so, first off, the email thread that was sent, I never received it. It did not go, Mr. Gressett, I think he has the list of who it went to. He was sent the email thread, but I was not sent.
And other people in the district were sent it?
Correct. And I think on the, and he can, you wanna speak on it? You wanna go?
Yeah, I think there were, like, I know Ron got it too, there were like 4 or 5 of us that got the email saying that, there was a bomb in every school, and if you don't, post that, this group is the one doing this, then something might happen. It went to just about every school district in the state, including private schools as well, private and charter schools.
Oh.
I didn't see it first. I was actually with Mr. Boyles. We were over at Westglades, and we were trying to get some work done over there on our new bus depot that we want to build over there. And so it wasn't until I got back that I actually saw it. And as soon as I saw it, I let Dr. Barfield know, and as soon as I let her know, she started texting or emailing all the board members and all the principals right away and stuff like that.
So let me stop
In the
you.
meantime, when I got back to my office after that, I got a call from the Florida Department of Education school safety specialist person, and she wanted to let me know that, you know, this was happening all throughout the state, that it's unsubstantiated, that, you know, they have the FBI working on it, and the state is also trying to track down, you know, where this came from. Really, what she wanted to know is there anything we can do for you? Are you doing anything different? And I said, well, we're status quo right now, because, you know, we're watching out for these things all the time. And the sheriff's department was later let know about that as well, and they had people that actually did some extra cruising around the schools. But, you know, I know that some people got really very nervous about it, and which I can understand. But this was something that went out, like I said, to about every school district, every school, and it didn't go to most superintendents. It went to just people that somehow they found their emails and just sent it to whatever school
Right.
people were in that area.
Right. What was odd is I got a notice from LaBelle High School about 10 a.m. about it. And they said it's already unsubstantiated, don't worry, everything's fine. And I sent that to Dr. Barfield, and she was like, I haven't heard of this, what is this? And I'm like, why didn't the state call us? If they called Hendry County, why didn't they call Glades County?
Well, because that email went out, I believe, about 9:45, and like I said.
Oh, you weren't there to get the
I wasn't
email,
there.
okay.
Mr. Boyles wasn't there to get that either.
Okay.
I didn't get back here until around.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, you just didn't have the information
I had
yet.
the information.
Did we ever put out that it was unsubstantiated? I know you said you didn't want to put that out.
I don't remember what the message said, but let me say this. So my very first call that I made was to my principals. And I said, this is what we've received. I'm gonna put something out. Please talk to your SROs. Okay, good, sounds good. So then my next call was I sent something to you as board members. Then I sent something out to the parents, the families.
Oh, you
So-
did the Facebook
Yes.
post, or was it?
No,
a call out?
we, not only did we do a Facebook post, we also did a call out. And yes, absolutely.
So see, we're still not getting those.
Yeah.
I've
So
asked
we're not getting them
multiple
either.
times.
Yeah, because Caleb, Mark Hunter called me and told me.
Okay.
Because Caleb got it from Femietta.
Huh?
I'll build a separate group for board members in Apogee, and I'll loop you guys.
Deborah
Thank you.
Burton-Cowson, Caleb
Thank
got
you.
it from Femietta, and Chase got it from Okeechobee. And we still hadn't heard about
It
it.
is a Little Rock, Arkansas number, which throws people off, so if you don't expect that Little Rock, Arkansas,
Yeah, and that's because we do
right.
we do it through Apogee. I'll ask them, like, could you please, like, you know, smooth the number, the number, so that people know the teachers are in.
So I do think that when I sent it out to the parents, the post that I did and the message that I did not say it is, I didn't give, you know, this is, we found out that it's, you know, not credible, or I didn't put up, because no one told me from the state that it was not credible, and I wasn't gonna put out on social media that it wasn't credible until I heard from the state that it was not credible. At this time, so you called and said, well, what, you know, or texted, you know, why is Hendry County, well, I don't know, we were trying to.
Because they opened the email at 9 o'clock.
Right. So, but here's the thing, I've never received it even to this day, so I was trying to respond, and then when we did respond, I mean, you know, I spoke with, Sheriff Harden. Like Mr. Gressa said, the Glades County Sheriff's Department, they sent out deputies to do extra patrol. You know, I do know that, I have friends that are superintendents, and they went to full evacuation. They went to their reunification place. I mean, they emptied their schools out. I mean, there was a little bit of, I kind of understand what you're saying about, you know, the state should have, you know, what, you know, and I'm sure they'll have the.
What time did you get the call?
It was after I talked to Dr. Barker, because that's when she put all the emails out, the texts and stuff like that, and when I got back to my office.
So that was after 10 o'clock,
Yes,
probably.
probably around 10:30.
But thank goodness that it was a hoax and, you know, everyone is safe, but I think there was I think in every situation, there's some learned things that we could have done better, and some gaps in some communication that we could have done better, I guess you could say. So,
Well, I think if Lindsay gets us set up where we get the phone call, that's gonna save you from even doing a text, because it's like the parents know before we know, and, you know, if we know as soon as possible.
but they didn't, because I called you all before I called the parents.
Yeah.
And the other thing I did was I called the teachers before I called the parents, because I didn't want, but then what happened?
Parents texting kids.
Well, but so what happened at West Glades is the principal, I called and spoke with each principal. Well, the principal and the APs were not in the same building. Well, one of the APs got a phone call from one of our parents at West Glades, and she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Because, well, she hadn't had time, the principal had not had time to talk to the AP. So it's just some little things.
Yeah, because they got the text from Hendry County, like I did. They got the remind, they just do reminds. And I know more about what goes on there than I want to know. But,
So, anyway, that's all I have, and I'm just glad everybody's safe from the wind and the bombs. So,
thank you, Dr. Barfield.
And Mark Hunter said thank you too.
oh, well, thank you.
So we didn't have to drive in that.
All right, we appreciate you all very much. Anything else, anybody? Last call, meeting adjourned.
All right.